Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashmiel, Shai Bashem Barakak Wadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai and Yahweh Bashmiel Shai Brakatham to the elect, whom this gospel is for. And this is your brother Laban. And what I want to get into is this interesting story here. And as we know, brothers are in this truth going through hell. And man, I tell you, this life is just full of drama, man. I tell you, it really is. But things could be a lot more worse because everybody's going through something, right? And you got people like this that have had these psychotic moments to the point where they went online saying that they're this biblical character and they're Jesus the Christ, and they're here to return to save the world and all kind of shenanigans, man. You see, so just to re-mention again, things could be a lot more worse, man. You know what I mean? Like, you might be going through some hell, but trust me, there's someone that's going through something that's 100 times more worse than what you're going through. And what we go through is meat for us. It's something that we can go through and that we have to go through so that we understand where we are at in this truth. All right, when we serve the Lord in this case. So that's all I got to say with that. So now we're going to get into this story over here. Our message reads, man declares himself to be Jesus and beats up 7 monks in religious rampage. The attack took place at the Santo Espirito del Monte monastery near Valencia, where the man is said to have used the historical artifact, a stick in a glass bottle, to assault the monks. Despite initial concerns, emergency services have confirmed that nobody has died, although there has been no fatalities. 7 monks were injured, and 1 individual remains in critical condition in hospital. So, again, this guy had a psychotic moment in believing that he was Jesus the Christ, which that's not even his name. And this man is not no Jesus Christ. He's just pretty much someone that's basically bugged out. And that's just as far as that is. Matthews 24 and verse 5, for as many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. Mark 13 and verse 22, for false anointed ones and false prophets shall rise, and shall show signs and wonders to seduce, if it were possible, even the elect. But it is not possible to deceive the elect, because the elect are going to be deceived into righteousness unto everlasting life by predestination. So it's impossible to deceive the very elect. Now, during the time of the apostles, in this case, in the book of Acts 13, you had 2 men that were considered prophets, but were false prophets, and also sorcerers at the same time. In verse 6. So what I want to do is I want to begin by reading verse 1 so we can get the story right. So this is Acts 13 and 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch, and Saul. As they ministered to the Lord and fasted, the Holy Spirit said, separate me Barnabas and Saul for the work whereunto I have called them. And when they had fasted and prayed and laid their hands on them, they sent them away. So they, being sent forth by the Holy Spirit, departed unto Seleucia, and from thence they sailed to Cyprus. And when they were at Salamis, they preached the word of the Most High in the synagogue of the Jews, and they had also John to their minister. And when they had gone through the isles unto Pathos, they found a certain sorcerer, a false prophet, a Jew, whose name was Bar Jesus, which means the son of Jesus. Now, he wasn't the son of the actual Messiah himself. He was the son of somebody else. which was with the deputy of the country, Sergius Paulus, a prudent man, who called for Barnabas and Saul, and desired to hear the words of the Most High. But Elymas, the sorcerer, withstood them, seeking to turn away the deputy from the faith. So yeah, in the time of the Apostle Paul and the Apostle Peter, and the likes, you had these men. And as well as it is the same to this very moment in time, whenever you have the true prophets around, you have a more of a set of false prophets than you do righteous prophets. All right. So in these last days, you're gonna have people come out of the woods and declare that there's someone special out of the Bible, when in fact they're just regular folk having a psychotic episode, have you will. That's all it is, you know. And so what I want to do is I want to back up a little bit. And then you also got people that know the scriptures, but the Most High has allowed them to being deceived, to being lying prophets, to deceive many. Okay? As it is written, that the blind be leaders of the blind, and both shall fall into the ditch. So let's back up a little bit and let's go into this over here. The Bible warns about false prophets and the importance of sound doctrine. Identify false prophets. False prophets can be identified by their methods, motives, and manners of living. Methods. False prophets may mix good teachings with false teachings to confuse their listeners. And their words may be malleable and easy to contort. Let me look up that word, malleable. I'm curious of what that word means. So let's look up that word, malleable, right? Okay. Pliable, easily influenced, malleable, easily led as sheep. Hold on. Okay, right. Okay, I get it. Something that is easy to change, right? So in other words, they speak on things easy to be accepted. Yeah, and easy to contort. Motives. False prophets may manipulate their people for their own gain. And that's the absolute truth. And I can't think of any other group but IUIC. This is what they do. Like, they'll speak a good game. They'll teach the scriptures. But there's half truths in their teachings. Same thing with ISUBK, but the focus is on the IUIC. You know, they are an example of that. All right. So now I want to read this over here. This is Isaiah 30 and verse 10, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy to see. So when you're speaking in the sense of pleasing the people, you're really doing it for your own personal motives to gain something, right? And in this case, for the most part, typically your churches, your so-called Christian churches, this is what they do, because what they got to do is they got to do that so that they can have a business. And with that business, they can expand on their pockets. It's about the money. So instead of it being about the Most High, it's about the business instead. And so there lies even the IUIC. The IUIC, okay, yeah, they may preach the scriptures and all of that, but their main focus is the business side aspect of what they do. Okay? Because if you're going to sell a product, you got to make it look good and packageable and presentable so that people can be drawn into it. All right? So now what I want to do is I want to read something else, and we're going to read the book of Luke 16. Luke 16 and verse 15. And this what was said to the Pharisees, which was set up by the ancient Romans, and this is why this was said. And he said unto them, Ye are they which justify yourselves before men, but the Most High knoweth your hearts, for that which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of the Most High. And they became the main religious leaders of the people, and as well as, of course, the rest of the Jews, which was our ancestors at the time, believed in the Pharisees and the Sadducees, rather than they believed in the Messiah. And they didn't believe in the Messiah because if they had believed in the Messiah, they would have lost their high position. And that's what it was about for them. It was about their high position, and it was about their financing that they was getting because of that high position. All right? So it's the same thing with the IUIC. If you look at the IUIC, they're a camp that really exemplifies what the Pharisees and the Sadducees must have had been like 2,000 years ago. Plus, they're the main ones telling you, you got to keep the law, brother. You got to keep the law repetitively, and they don't keep the law correctly. You see some of these guys are lining up their beards, they're lining up their hairlines. You know, they're wearing mixed fabric t-shirts and the likes. They're not keeping all of the laws. It's impossible to keep all of the laws, and they know this, especially the head bishop Nathaniel, or the general in this case. That's what he calls himself, right? So they're just being a bunch of hypocrites. Yeah, so what I want to do now is I want to read. Let me go back over here, look up that word justify real quick. Yeah, justify. This is the word right here. I think this is the Kaio or the Ko. Let's play this because I could be wrong.
Strong's G 1344. Dikaiao. Dikaiao.
Dikaiao. Okay, cool. So as this reads, to render righteous or such he ought to be, to show, exhibit, events, one to be righteous such as he is and wishes himself to be considered, to declare, to pronounce, one to be just, righteous, or such as he ought to be. So it's just them projecting themselves like they're more righteous, but they're really not. And that's why if you look at, they have all of this gold hair and the purple, the bright coloring, just so they can project to the simple-minded ones. And they're only doing this so that they can manipulate people for personal gain, because it's a business. IUIC isn't basically a church which follows the gospel in sincerity and truth. It's basically a business instead. All right. So what I want to do is I want to now read this, which ties into what I was reading in the word Dikaiao. Matthew's, 23 and verse 27. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like unto white sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones, and of all uncleanness. Even so, you also outwardly appear righteous unto men, but within you are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. And woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous. So now let's look up this word garnish. Let's look into this word garnish. And the word is cosmeo. Let's play this.
Strong's G 2885. Cosmeo. Cosmeo.
Cosmeo, and that's what you get the word cosmetics from. Which means to what? Make ready, to embellish with honor, gain honor, to ornament, adorn. So as you can see over here, this is what you call adornment. You got the gold over here, and then you have the the title, made in gold, the IUIC, and as well as the intros and the outro videos that they do. They prepare these videos. They make ready these videos so that what? it could be prestigious to you. The word prestige means to be, which means to, let me look up that word prestige as well. Let's bring that word out as well. Prestige, prestigious. Let's go into the Etum online. Interesting. Right, okay. Prestigious, practicing illusion or magic, juggling, deluding, deceptive, from the Latin prestigious, full of tricks. From prestigiae, juggler tricks, probably altered by dissimulation from prestigiae, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and prestigian, prestigiae, that's a tongue twister for me, to blindfold, the dazzle, right? So it's just creating that illusion. It's just to create something which is going to elude you, and so that you're drawn to it. All right? And that is the symbol that would be drawn to all of this. The organization and how organized they look, the gold and the purple, all of this stuff. If you're not really sound in your mind, you're going to pretty much be drawn to this right over here. All right? And that explains why you got a lot of our people that follow the IUIC, because they're drawn to what it looks like. If you really want to get Jake to follow whatever you're doing, you just got to package and present it correctly. And this is something that the IUIC has mastered. They mastered that. They've mastered the art of how to elude the simple among our people. Let me just put it in that way instead. And that's why Great No Stone, the typical Jake, they don't really want to get into Great No Stone because we don't have that presentable look. We're not packaged right. But that's okay, because this thing is for the elect anyway. Okay, so so this is John 4 and verse 23, as this reads, "But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. The Most High is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth." And that's whom the Most High really wants. But the Lord don't need millions and tens of millions of Israelites to believe. The Lord has an exact number of men that's going to believe on him. All right? Not to just believe on him because of the miracles, or to believe on him because, of the right things which is said in the scriptures that really massages the mind. Or because of a particular brother, he knows how to speak very well, and he knows how to wear his garment very well. Like, the Most High is not concerned with people like that, that take this truth, to look at this truth as for a sake of entertainment. The Lord ain't dealing with people like that. Like I said the other day in making that video, the Most High is looking for brothers that are going to be capable of doing rather than hearing the word. All right? And that's what the elect are going to do. The elect are going to get into it. The elect are not going to be sitting back, watch on the side, but don't want to get active. And they've been watching for some of these guys have probably been watching for 8 years, 5 years, 2 years, 4 years. And they ain't hit the streets yet, or they haven't joined no camp yet. That's all bullshit. This is why the Lord is only concerned with the small number. One of the reasons as to why, which the small number of men that are going to teach the word of the Lord, they've already been pre-selected anyway, way beforehand. So you already know the Most High is going to give them the rudiments they need so that they can do their Father's will. All right. Now you got some brothers I'm going to even mention as well. You got brothers that are very serious about this truth. Just to be balanced, because you may have brothers out there that may be disabled to where they can't go out and teach the word. But if it was really up to them, out of the sincerity of their heart, they would go out there and teach the word. They would. But I'm talking about people that are able-bodied to do the Lord's work, but they're not willing to go out and and to do it because for whatever excuse, whatever lousy excuse they may have, because all they really want to do is sit back and eat chicken and watch the videos and just play it safe. Again, as I'm going to say, the Lord ain't dealing with niggas like that. The Most High is looking for men that he's already pre-selected anyway, that's going to have the right in them to do the Lord's work, as it is written. So that's all I got to say, man. As I just read in the book of John 4 and verse 23, the Lord is looking for the true worshipers. So with that, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Waharakak, Radash. And with that, I say Shalom.